Lena Morti was 28 years old and lived in Bologna, Italy, and she had always been someone who wanted to be in control of her life. She was a hard worker, organized, and had a deep love for her job. She had always dreamed of being able to work in a way that gave her freedom and dignity, and she believed in doing her best and being fair. She had a strong sense of justice and always tried to do the right thing, even when others around her didn't. She had a quiet strength that didn't shout, but it was there, always there, waiting to be called upon when the time was right. Lena had worked as an SEO copywriter and SSM for a well-known Italian company, and she had always been treated with respect. She had spoken directly to Big Boss, the general manager, and Mini Boss, who was the team leader. At first, everything had seemed fine. She had been hired, and they had asked her to open a VAT number and work as a freelancer. She had agreed, thinking it was just the way things were done, and she had started working. But as the days went on, she realized that she wasn't really a freelancer. She was working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, just like a full-time employee. She had to show up on time, meet deadlines, and do everything exactly as they wanted. She had been given a lot of praise from management and customers, but she could feel that something wasn't right. One day, after 7 months of working like this, Lena was called into Mini Boss's office. He told her that her services were no longer required. She was shocked. She had never missed a deadline, she had always done her job well, and she had even received praise from the team. She asked to speak with Big Boss, but he refused. She had been fired without any notice, and it wasn't even written down. She felt a deep sense of injustice. She had always tried to be fair and do the right thing, but now she was being treated like a piece of trash. She had been working hard, and she had always been honest about her opinions. She had told Mini Boss and Big Boss that their work was terrible and that they were making mistakes that hurt the whole team. She had always been polite, but she had never held back when she saw something wrong. Now, she felt like she was being punished for speaking her mind. She had told Mini Boss, "This isn't over." He had looked nervous and asked, "Are you threatening the company?" She had replied, "Threats are for people who aren't sure they'll win. I'm making a promise. It's just a matter of time." Lena had been hurt, but she wasn't going to let this go. She had always believed that the law was on her side, and she knew that she had been treated unfairly. She had spoken to her lawyer, and together they had started legal action. She had gathered all the evidence she could find: chats, emails, communications, invoices, and even photos. She had everything she needed to prove that she had been wronged. The Big Boss had responded to her lawyer's official communication with a long, angry email full of insults and personal attacks. He had called her names and tried to make her look bad, but Lena knew that he had no idea what he was up against. She had sent all the evidence to her lawyer, and she had been waiting for the legal process to move forward. She had been patient, but she had also been determined. After a year of waiting because Italian bureaucracy was so slow, Lena had finally delivered a 200-page dossier of evidence to her lawyer. She had included everything she had, and she had made sure that every detail was clear and documented. The next day, her lawyer had filed the case, and the next thing she knew, the company's own lawyer had contacted her, practically begging her to name a settlement amount so they could avoid going to trial. Lena had talked to her lawyer, and together they had decided on a 5-figure sum. The company had accepted without any complaints, and that was when Lena realized that she had won. She had fought for her rights, and she had done it in the most powerful way possible. She had made them pay for their mistakes. On the day of the settlement hearing, Lena had gone to court with her lawyer, and she had felt a mix of emotions. She had been nervous, but she had also been proud. The judge had listened to everything that had been said, and she had been impressed by how thoroughly Lena and her lawyer had prepared. She had looked at Lena and said, "You did a great job. You've shown the court exactly what happened." Then she had turned to the Big Boss and given him a stern warning about his appalling conduct, adding, "We're honestly tired of seeing your name in court." Lena had felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had been wronged, but she had stood up for herself. She had won her case, and she had made the people who had wronged her pay for their actions. She had taken control of her life, and she had done it in a way that was both fair and powerful. Now, Lena had a new normal. She had learned a lot from this experience, and she had grown stronger. She had always believed in doing the right thing, and she had found that her voice could make a difference. She had also learned that sometimes, the people who wrong you will come back to you, and they will pay for their actions in the most unexpected way. She had a new sense of confidence, and she knew that she could handle anything that came her way. In the end, Lena had not only won her case, but she had also made a powerful statement about justice and fairness. She had shown that even the people who tried to exploit you could be brought to their knees. And she had done it with grace, determination, and a little bit of revenge that was sweet, just like the judge had said. Lena had found her power, and she was never going to let anyone take it away again.